right, so today, we're going to talk about the truth about downsizing part 3, dealing with all the extra stuff. So we talked about part 1. If you were here for that, we talked about the mindset of whether or not it's time. When is it time? What if one spouse wants to downsize and the other one doesn't? In part 2 last month, we talked about the logistics. Nikki and I had a really great conversation about what does that look like? What does, do you move first? Do you get rid of stuff first? Do you sell your house first? What does that look like? We move first, right? We find where we're going and we move. So today, we're going to be talking about the truth about downsizing part 3, dealing with all the extra stuff. So mindset is we've moved, we found where we're going, and now you are living your best life, getting 3 meals a day in your new home, and you still have your old home, and it's full of all of your stuff. You don't really want to think about it. It's been kind of rainy. Don't want to go over there and sort through things. So what are we going to do with everything that is left in the house? When I sit down and talk to someone about selling their house, a lot of people, we talk about 3 different buckets. What is your objective? Do you want to make the most money? Do you want it to go fast? Or do you want something super, super easy, right? A lot of times you can pick 2, 3 if you're lucky. This one adds the feeling good emotionally. So we're talking about all of your items that are left in your house. Typically, just picture something in your head. It's going to fall into one of these buckets. Are you hoping to make the most money possible on something? Are you wanting to get it done quickly? Do you want to feel good about things emotionally? Maybe you want a family member to take and use something. Maybe you want to donate. Or are you wanting to choose what the easiest, least stressful method is? And what I want you to know is that there's not a right or wrong way. There's a different sometimes there's different situations for different items in your home. Sometimes a health event has occurred and it changes the way that you think about things. I will say that the longer that you wait, doors close, and that's the same way that it is with all different aspects of life. You have the most options the earlier that you plan. So today we're going to have a really, really candid conversation that I'm excited about just what does that look like for you? What does planning ahead look like? Maybe challenging some preconceived notions, talking about options that you may not have known are out there. So what are some ways that I just want to hear, what are some ways that you have planned on getting rid of some things? What are you going to do? Garage sale. Okay, I love that. Garage sale. What else? Estate sale?
I just had my daughter come over and let me know what she wanted to put stickers on it, so I know those things will at least not go.
Gloria had her daughter come over and let her know what she wanted. I want to tell you something fun. Some of you guys have heard this story, but my mom did something really fun. I host Easter at my house. I have 3 brothers, and they all go different directions for Easter, but at our house, my parents come over. And Mom has had, it was a wedding gift. She has a green, I don't even know, it's that real olive green glass. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a green egg plate, and it's my favorite. And I have teased for years that is my egg plate, and she better be careful with it because that's my egg plate. Well, about 2 years ago, she came over for Easter with all of her deviled eggs on my egg plate. And so as she was packing up to go, I washed it for her and was going to send it with her. And she said, "No, I think I want you to have it." And I said, "Well, but I'll have it later." And she was like, "No, I think I want you to have it just every Easter when I come over." So now for Easter, I put my deviled eggs on that plate, and it's been really fun. So sometimes we have the opportunity to send our items with our loved ones. Has anyone ever experienced their loved ones maybe not wanting their extra things? Raise your hand. Yeah. There are some things that my parents have that I don't want, and I am certain that there are some things that I have that my children don't want. So I do think that that's definitely a possibility as well. What else are we doing to sell or donate our items? Yes?
Some years ago, I read an article about a couple in Washington DC, I think, was around that area. They were downsizing, had much, far too much. They put labels on different items and invite their friends to come in and take whatever they want.
Yeah, so he was saying that he read an article about some people who labeled for friends. So which bucket would you say that goes into? Feeling good. Yeah, feeling good. Which bucket would you put a garage sale in? Making the most money. Yeah, you're exactly right. Facebook Marketplace, is that the easiest way to sell something? No. And if you waited till the last minute where things had to go quickly, would that be the method that would work the best for you? Probably not. So when we're choosing what to do with our items, with our personal belongings after we've downsized, we're going to think about what do we want, what is our goal, and then also what are we capable? What are our capabilities there? So I'm going to bring our panelists up if they want to go ahead and come up. I'm so excited about this conversation. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I've got 3 professionals here. Laura, why don't you tell me about yourself? Let's flip it on. There you go.
Hey, hi. Okay, my name's Laura Larimer. My husband and I own True Blue Cleanouts. He's in law enforcement. I'm a teacher. We just started this business to help people like you. I'm kind of wishing I would have signed my parents up for this because this would be very useful for them.
Yep, it's good. Perfect.
So, yeah, we own a haul-off clean-out business. That's where we come in.
Noel?
Hi, my name is Noel Ladd, and I own the K&N Interior Consignment here in Oklahoma City. We also have a store in Norman. We've been in business for about 10 years now. I think we've become the largest consignment store in the state. So that's it.
Perfect, thanks. And Tia?
Am I on? Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah.
My name is Tia Dunlap, and I own Caring Transitions, Western Oklahoma, and OKC. We are a franchise. We are nationwide. There's over 350 of us throughout the U.S., but we specialize in downsizing, liquidations, relocations, and resettles. So we work with the senior population. I'm a senior advisor, and this is what we do every day. We love it.
And Tia, you can also speak to buyouts and also traditional estate sales, true?
Yes.
Yes,
that is
okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Now, as y'all are looking at your sheet that's in front of you, there's a little bit of self-reflection that you'll see. And because I want you to think about this in terms, there's a plethora of different options out here. So today we're going to talk about just a few, but as you're looking at your form or your notes that you're going to take home with you, I really want this to be a personal self-reflection for you on maybe the things that you're not quite sure what you're going to do with, and then you can take this and let us know if you have any questions afterwards. Okay. All right. So Laura, tell me some things that you guys do not accept.
I think anything biohazard material like oil, gas, paint. I will say we will take paint if it's dried out, but anything that would be flammable that cannot go into the landfill.
Perfect. Noel, is there anything that y'all don't take?
We probably don't specialize in like China. We don't do, well, I don't think anyone does really armoires anymore, but TV cabinets that won't hold a giant TV, no one really wants those anymore. But glassware, Chinaware, stuff like that is not one of our strong suits.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
There's actually really not much that we won't handle now as far as selling it and liquidating it. There are some things that we like to talk about and some expectations that we like to line out. But we handle, obviously we partner with realtors, so we don't sell the house. That's a question we get a lot is, do you guys sell the house? Will you sell the land? Will you sell the house? No, we do not do that. We sell all your personal contents to get it ready for the realtor.
Perfect. Great. So I would say, well, let's talk about timeline first. What's the typical timeline from the time that somebody calls you and your husband to the time that you're finished? What does that timeline look like?
Depending on the size that we're working with, it could be anywhere from 1 to 3 days. It could be anywhere within that time. We're pretty quick.
Okay, perfect. Noel, what does that timeline look for y'all?
Same with us. We run 3 trucks 5 days a week, so we can usually pick up within a day or two.
Now, they don't get paid within a day or two.
That is correct. With consignment, we take it, we sell it, and once it sells, if it sells this month, you'll receive a check the following month.
Perfect. Okay, Tia, what does your timeline look like? If I called you and I said, I'd like to have an estate sale this weekend, what would you say?
I would say, well, let's get busy. We can make it happen. We have done those. We've made it really happen. We like to give at least a 2-week, just because of advertising and marketing. We like to have a 2 to 3 week timeline. Do that.
Okay, well, that's faster than what I thought you were going to say. So,
And I will tell you that we don't ever book out any further than that, because if you guys are anything like me, when I call and want something, I want it done now. Like I want immediate reaction. So we do not book out any further than 2 to 3 weeks. Now, if you want to book out, yes, we can. However, you're not going to call and get on a long waiting list.
So now you're talking about for an online estate sale, correct?
I'm talking
Or
online or
in person. Okay, great. So when we talk about those buckets that we were speaking about before, as far as fast, most money, feels the best, things like that, what kind of buckets? I feel like yours is no stress and fast, right?
That's right.
Now it does cost money. It does cost, which we'll talk about shortly, and then Noel, I'd say you're kind of in between, because you can get it out of the way pretty quick, but that check takes a little bit of time to get there.
That is correct. Yeah, we can pick it up really quick. And if it sells, it may sit there for 2 or 3 months before it sells.
Yeah.
And then with us, the longer it sits, the cheaper it gets. So, the amount of money that you receive, it's always still half, but it will be less.
Yeah, okay. And then Tia, I would think that yours is people are expecting to feel really good about everything being sold, and then also the fact that you're going to sell it for, both of you two will sell it for as much as possible. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, we talk a lot about handling your items and your personal belongings with dignity and respect, and or maybe it's a loved one's things that you are handling. And dignity and respect is number one for us. That's very big. We want to make sure that, we have that feel good when we walk away, for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So what are some questions and considerations that people have that they, maybe unrealistic expectations? I'd like to talk about some expectations and maybe concerns that people might have, and we'll go the reverse way if you want to start, Tia.
Sure. We have to have realistic expectations with what items are worth and what items will bring. There are multiple times that we can have a sale going in one area, and we can sell maybe a couch for $300 or $400, and maybe we're having a sale the same weekend and it's in another town that's 40 miles away and it's not going to sell for $50. So we have to be very, very real with our expectations. We do try to have that conversation up front so that there aren't any false expectations there. But, we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And I'll tell you, there's not one red cent that we can bring in that will replace sentimental value. So if there's something that means something to you guys, the thing that I hate to hear, and we just really won't even sell the item, is, well, I really, that was my grandmother's table. I would really kind of like to have it, but, for mom's estate, maybe I need to sell it. Absolutely not, because I promise you, even if it's $200 or $300, it cannot replace sentimental value.
Yeah, that's hard. Sentimental value is hard. Noel, what are some considerations or some expectations?
Maybe some things that are like 100 years old and it's an antique piece and it's beautiful and it's not a scratch on it and it's been in your family forever. And you may see it like in New York or somewhere for, thousands and thousands of dollars, but I have to remind people this is Oklahoma and that, it's not going to bring what you're going to get, maybe somewhere else. So we always tell people we want the most for it too, because it's a win-win for both of us, but, we have to be realistic.
Perfect. Any concerns or unrealistic expectations that you run into?
I think a lot of, there are, I would say 85% of the items by the time you get to us is going in the landfill. There are certain things like maybe you have medical equipment that we know someone can use. But, if the part when it gets to us is we can't, make extra trips here and there to do donations unless there's just a specific thing you have set aside for that. It's hard for us to go through those things when it comes to that, so.
Now, you did tell me one thing that, and I think this would be a concern, it's a concern that I've heard, is when it comes to the point, and typically when it's time for y'all to come, it's either because someone has passed away and the family is not, no one is here to do anything about that. But then we do have some situations, maybe some hoarding situations, things like that, where it might come into play. We recently worked on a really super exciting bed bug situation together. So it was really fun. But the concern about maybe valuables being overlooked. So talk to us about that.
Right. And there are a lot of times where we do, I mean, you're kind of in a rush sometimes to look through things. And I mean, we've found beautiful wedding pictures. And, you know I store things and I forget them. So there may be like money in a, photo frame. We do set those aside and contact you on things that we know would be important to you.
Yeah. And Noel, you have found some things too that you've contacted the family about.
We have. It seems like the undergarment drawer has been overlooked a few times. But we have just recently we found in one of the drawers a little box, and it had like some really expensive coins in it. And we, of course, gave them back. But we've gotten cell phones and pictures, and we love to give those back to the people because sometimes it's been lost for 10 years. And then, flash ring also comes to mind. They're like, I've lost that 10 years ago, and they got it back. So
That feels good. I think especially when people come to the point where they're handing their belongings to someone else and knowing that it's somebody that is not going to say, oh, well, I'm going to just pocket that as a bonus. You guys would never do that. Okay, well, Laura, we'll talk, if that's okay, we'll talk for just a little bit about, now we talked a little bit about that your husband is in law enforcement, so that is a good feeling of knowing that it's somebody that you can trust come over. Tell me, what does getting a bid look like? If you've got a lot of things that need to be hauled off, what does that bid look like, and how often does the bid change?
Okay, it's what you're comfortable. If you're comfortable, you can go through your realtor and you don't even have to talk to us. You can text us, call us, email us, whatever you're comfortable with. We do it every single way. And what we do is from the point of contact, if it's something you can take pictures of, we get a good idea. If it's a larger job, we will come out to your location and do an on-site bid. But if it's something that's underestimated on our end, we eat that cost. So you're not going to have any shock. We need to add this to that. We don't work that way. So the bid that myself or my husband gives you, that's what. If we see it in the picture or we do an on-site bid, that is what you're going to get.
So does everything go in a landfill?
Everything except, the paint, the flammables, that type thing. But then, like we touched on earlier, anything, there's a lot of people that need the medical equipment you may not use anymore. Anything like that we can find and pick out, we do. If there's just anything of importance that we feel like someone could use.
Yeah, Michael was telling me, your husband Michael was telling me also that there have been occasions where there have been some things that maybe some, I believe he told me like single mothers, or there's a donation place that he will take things to when he can.
Yes, yes, that's what I was, if you have something that you set aside yourself, because a lot of times when we're in there, we're just kind of, we're doing the thing, so if you have something set aside that someone could use, that's what I was saying, we would be happy to get that where it needs to go.
Yeah, and I think just as a side note, it's important that people know, and this is a misconception that we work with a lot, is that some people say, well, I'm just going to call this donation location or this donation location, and we are in Downsizers Club this month going to talk about donations, but donation companies don't really come in and box things up, or it's not, you have to have it boxed up and sorted through and ready to go. So sometimes when you are in a situation where things need to go quickly, a donation is not really the fastest situation. So tell me about, I wanted to hear kind of maybe the biggest job that you guys have done or something that's really special. I ask you to share something.
Okay, we'll start with the biggest. The biggest, we had a 20-unit apartment complex, and it was unlivable conditions. It was not a very clean job, but, you know, my husband has a stomach for anything, so he can do, I didn't help a lot on that one, but, but, you know, I see him a lot. I mean, he's just got this servant heart, and he goes into these hoarder homes where these people are really struggling, and you know, this family had kind of gone through a lot, and they kind of let their house go, and things just kept on and kept on, and just the relief that he gave them, it was a moment for sure, just getting rid of that, and things like that are just sweet, so.
Yeah, by the time, whenever we call you guys, unless it's something, I will tell you, you know, after Christmas, you got lots of boxes and stuff. They came over and helped me with that because it was out of control. But speaking about with clients and the way that by the time it gets to you guys, something tragic has happened, and the compassion and the trust that I have with you guys is really great. Before we move on, what is the biggest hesitation that you run into when you're speaking with someone?
I think a lot of it, people might be embarrassed. I can promise you there's nothing we haven't seen. But a lot of it, people are embarrassed that it got to that point. And you don't need to be.
Yeah, you are not alone. Noel, oh, that's not you. There we go. Noel, okay, so the process start to finish. Let's talk about that, about the high-end consignment side of things. So someone has a piece that they think is really something that maybe they know it won't fit in their new place, but they think it would be a good fit for you.
The first thing that we ask is that you take pictures of it, and you can either text them to us, you can email them to us, you can show it to us on your phone in person. And then once it's approved, then we offer a pickup service. There's a fee for it, but you don't pay it out up front. It comes out of the money that you get once your items sell. And the pickup fee depends on the distance, not the item. So I tell people, fill the truck up because it's based off of the distance. And then from there, that's pretty much it. We say, in the pictures, I will approve them, or say, we'll take this, but not that. Or yes, we'll take all of it. They'll show me a picture of just a room and everything in this room. So, there's really not much we don't take. We just want it to be good quality furniture. It doesn't have to be in perfect condition because we tell people, look, it's pre-loved. We don't like the word used. And then, they're getting it at half of retail. So it's great, pre-loved quality furniture that, you can make some money, we can make some money, and then everybody can have it.
So when you bring something into your store and it goes in your showroom, how long do you keep it before, do you call someone before you mark it down, or how does that process go?
It's a 90-day consignment. It's a 50-50 split, and then every 20 days that it's in the store, it automatically goes down 10%. So you kind of know the process as we go along, but there is a website that you can register with, and you can watch your items. You can see what they're priced at today. You can see when they marked down. You can see when they sold and what they sold for. You can see what your check is going to be the following month. So I tell people that's a great tool, but feel free to call us because we would be more than happy to help you over the phone. We can help you set up the app, help you with all of it. Either way, whatever you choose, we're here for you. Our guys and gals are trained, and customer service is our number one priority.
Okay. So when you're talking to someone about their piece of furniture, are you telling them a price up front before you come and pick it up?
We do not. We will say typically it's about half of what it costs new, and if you don't know that number, Google Lens, if you guys know what that is, it's your best friend. You can take a picture of anything, and it'll tell you what it is in the universe.
Or your grandchild can do that.
Your grandchild can help you, but it's very simple, and it's on every iPhone. So you just snap a picture, and it'll show you what it is going for out there, and we use that quite a bit to determine price.
Okay.
But never over the phone or never through a picture, because then we're over-promising.
Okay. Well, yeah, so we'll get all of that to everyone. Yes. Well, Google Lens. Yeah, Google Lens. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, also, while you all are listening, if there's a place on here for you to write down who you want to be connected with if that's some, if you had a question specifically about something like that. Okay, the expectations that you're setting, how many times are you having conversations with people about that's not exactly what it's worth?
Typically not that often, because a lot of people know that, they, what its value is. They've kind of already done a little bit of research, and their grandchildren or children have said, you can sell it, but you're not going to get what you pay for. And that's pretty much with anything. So, but from time to time, yes, we will have to have that call.
Okay. What items have you seen do the very, very best?
Items that are, I would say more current and what it looks like, if it's still, and it may not even be something expensive, but if it kind of has that modern look or mid-century, mid-century is very popular right now. Mid-century modern, things from urban farmhouse, that was around 5 years ago, any of that kind of furniture, it tends to sell really well.
Okay. All right, so let's say something doesn't sell. What are the options for typically with consignment?
We never make you get it out of the store. And that's a big one, because a lot of people after 90 days, they say you have 3 days to get it out. Property of the store.
Okay, so when someone is working with a consignment company, that's a good question to ask is what?
Yes, what happens after the contract is expired. Ours, the only thing is after 90 days, it does go 50% off of the initial price. And then only after 120 days does it become property of ours. We price it 75% off. We have a bargain basement. We throw it in. And at that point, we're just trying to get rid of it. But we do give to the shelters and places that will call us and ask for donations of furniture for someone that's kind of just getting started or just starting over. And we'll give them, if anything that's up for donations that's expired, we'll give them sometimes a whole house full of it.
So consignments in just kind of big picture consignment, who do you feel like is the very best fit for consigning their furniture pieces?
I would say it's a pretty wide range of people that want to consign furniture. You don't want to deal with Facebook Marketplace. You don't want to do a garage sale. It's nicer than that. And an estate sale, maybe you don't have enough for an estate sale. So we tend to cater to quite a wide range of individuals.
Okay. I could also see it being something where if someone were to downsize and then find that maybe that piece that they brought with them to their new home doesn't fit, and so they've already moved, and they don't want to move it again, that might be a good opportunity. Because ultimately, Facebook Marketplace and garage sales, you're not paying somebody to do that, so clearly you're going to be making, that falls into that make the most money bucket. But it is hard. There are people coming into your home that you don't know. It's physically taxing. It takes some time.
They never show up.
They don't show up. They say, please hold it for me. Yeah. Would you like to trade? Yeah.
I hear they low volume when you get there.
Yes. Yeah. So I feel like we talk to people a lot where they've moved into their new home and they brought something because it was really special to them, and then it no longer fits. Or maybe a piece of medical equipment needs to come in, that piece of furniture then needs to go. That might be a really good option for consigning as well.
They loved it in their old home. They love their new home more. That's right.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So recommendations for unique items. So let's say you get a call for something and you may not be, consignment may not be the best fit for that item. Maybe a piece of artwork, something like that. What does that process look like?
We're close to the Paseo district, so I will send people over to the Paseo area for artwork. There's a couple of places that do the Chinaware and the glassware, and the Coca-Cola, memorabilia. There's places that kind of specialize in those things that we don't. We're more of just a home decor and furniture. We don't do drapes and stuff
Yep.
We do rugs, but curtains, stuff like that. So there are places that specialize in things like that.
Great. And so, and I'll ask you the same thing, kind of a meaningful or impactful story that you can think of.
We have done consignment for Toby Bryant, Toby Keith.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've done some.
Got some cool stuff.
Yeah, but they don't ever want you to tell anyone until after it sells. Most recently, we did Tulsa King. We took their whole set of furniture. Yeah, so
Very cool.
that we were able to tell people what they were. We could leave the tags on it, but my fault, I left the tag on it and the director's cell phone number with
Oh, no.
every piece. And so, they came through the store and they were like, yeah, that's our boss's number. So, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, pull all that off real quick. But no, that was cool. We've done like homes in Galardia where we've taken like six truckloads of furniture out of those. Where they literally are moving to a new home or out of state. They're not taking anything. Yeah, those are
Very
big,
cool.
big jobs, but we've gotten the reputation that we can handle stuff like that.
Yeah, very cool. All right, Tia. Okay, so you can speak to online. Let's talk about estate sales. Who knows that you can do an online estate sale? Has anybody ever heard of that? Yeah, we actually utilize online estate sales pretty frequently. Can you speak to that process?
Absolutely. So online estate sales have definitely, as always, everybody talks about COVID, and so it really became a product in the COVID era. And it just becomes easier. I mean, we still host in-person estate sales, but and online we just reach a broader audience. We sell on a platform that has millions of emails that goes out. So you're seeing people are seeing stuff all across the U.S. But an online estate sale it kind of makes it a little bit easier too. It just it's a simple process. It really is. We declutter first, and we don't want to put things online that's really not appropriate to go online. Let's talk about like a Tupperware versus a Rubbermaid. If you have a bunch of Rubbermaid, we probably are going to donate that. But if you have some vintage Tupperware, we're going to sell that online because they want that. So to see the process of the online is we come in and we declutter and we set up lots, and every company does it the exact same. They have lots. It's pictured. It depends on how it's pictured and how it's marketed. I always tell my employees that even though we're behind a camera, or maybe even though we're in a home that nobody's there with us, we are still selling that item. Our job is to sell that item. So the lighting needs to be right. The items need to be clean. Things need to be presented as if they were our own items. And that's one of our big pushes, is that we want to make sure that we're proud of everything that goes online. But then an online sale, then it goes live. The company that you're working with takes care of all of the bidding and all of that. Then it closes. Then the shipping and the pickup happens. That's all taken care of by the company that you're contracted with. And then the things are cleared out of your home. Now, I will say there are some processes in there that once an area is lotted together, maybe they put together a table and a lamp and a little bit of home decor, then that needs to be left just like it is, because for any company, they need to be able to come in and say, this is lot number 1, it needs to go out just like it was pictured. So that's really big, is that we don't have little fingers and rifters going through the things. That's happened many times, and that's never a good situation. But the online process is pretty simple, and you can share it with your friends and family. Maybe your friends and family aren't local and they can't come see your things, and so they can see your things online, and the company that you're working with will take care of all the shipping. None of that stress is on you guys.
So who pays for the shipping?
The buyers. So if I'm purchasing on an online, or you are purchasing on an online, you're going to pay that shipping, okay? A lot of times companies will have a set shipping rate, or as we do, the invoice is paid for the item, and then we go back and weigh the item, package it however it needs to be packaged, and we send an email with the shipping, they pay the shipping, and then the item goes out.
Okay. One of the things that I have found interesting about an online estate sale is that home's address is not publicized. It's just, it goes out after someone has made their purchase and then they come and pick it up.
Absolutely. So when we're doing an online estate, we are not going to put, this is 101 North Main. That will go out on the invoice after the sale has closed. So there is going to be a handful of people, or how many people that have purchased to pick up, that are going to be in your home. But the nice thing about contracting with someone is that you aren't having to deal with those people. We normally typically do a pickup day of 1 to 2 days. We have set allotted times for each client to come. We don't want just a big rush of clients coming because we don't want your house gone through. Typically what we do is we set up, sometimes if it's cool enough, in the garage. That way we have items ready. They bring us their ticket. We say, can you please hold on a minute? We have an attendant that waits there with the people, so that they're not left alone. And we go gather the items and they take them out. Now, if it's big pieces of furniture and stuff, then yes, someone's going to walk through your home. But that is definitely the best way to control who is coming in and out of your home.
Yeah. So what, how much do you need for it to be worth it?
Oh gosh, we've done online sales that are small. Let's just say we have a lot of people that will call us and say, I collected such and such, Hallmark ornaments, or I collected this, or I collected that. Would you sell that? Absolutely, we will. But then we also have situations that we're doing a whole home, and that is, gathering up the waste baskets and selling those in one lot. I mean, it's a variety of things. So I really wouldn't say that it's not of how much or how little or is there enough there. It's what are the expectations, and let's talk about what is the best route for you.
Similarly to the other two panelists, tell me a little bit about what the process of actually giving somebody a bid or telling them what to expect looks like.
Absolutely. So we offer a free 1-hour consultation, and a lot of times we get clients that they're not sure what they need. They just know that they're going to make a transition. They just know that something's going to change in their life. And a lot of times the change that you are making, the decision that you're making to do this change or this transition, it's one of the biggest decisions you have to make in life. It's hard. And so maybe you're leaving a home that you've been in 20 or 30 years, or maybe you're leaving a home that you have raised your children in, or maybe you're leaving a home that's where all the grandkids come for Christmas. And my job, is to work with you on putting together a customized plan of what is best. We have a lot of things we need to liquidate. Obviously, if you're moving into 800 or 1,000 square foot or a 1,500 square foot home and you're leaving a 4,000 square foot, obviously that stuff's not going to fit. And any of us that would move, any of us would want to downsize to some degree. There's always things you want to get rid of. Sometimes, our job is to come in and say, let's work through this. Let's put together a timeline. Let's decide what is the best avenue, what is the best resource for us to do these things. Is it donation? Is it a haul off? Maybe we're in a home and we're going to call Noel and we're going to call haul off and we're going to do a little bit of both. But our job is to take care of that, and then we're going to sell online as well. So, there's a lot of options there that we work through. You call us, we give you a free hour consultation, we come in and write a plan, we submit back to you an email that says, this is how things are going to go, this is what you accept, and that's what we do.
What about, tell me the biggest point of contention, the biggest concerns that you run into, maybe a story about a situation that...
Sure, I had a lady that was actually moving back to California to be closer to her kids. And we had been talking. We had multiple conversations via phone. And so I went to her house on an evening, and we were going to sit down and put a plan together. And as we were looking through her home, she was a treasure seeker as well, that I like to call them. But there wasn't anything that I would have ever called Noel for, if that makes sense. Okay, I wouldn't have said, hey, I think this is a great piece. I think it would do well for you guys. And as we sat down and started to talk, she said, I have to have $15,000. I have to have $15,000 or I can't do this. And I said, with no disrespect, I'm not your gal. I'm not the person for you because I can't guarantee that. And I always tell people, I cannot guarantee you what your things are gonna bring, but what I can tell you is that I'm gonna work my tail off to make sure that they look the best they've ever looked. I'm gonna market them the way that they should be marketed, and they're gonna bring what they should, not maybe what you think they should.
Yeah.
So with her, I just said, listen, I'm not the gal for you. I can give you some people that maybe you should talk to, knowing that, you know, wasn't going to make $15,000 even if she had a garage sale. Which, like Noel said, we don't use the word garage sale. That's an ugly word. We do estate sales. That's what we do. And let me tell you the difference really quick is we can have a table of items and a garage sale, we might mark them all $2. Well, our team, what our job is to go in and maybe there's 20 items on that table. Maybe 3 of those are worth $25 or $30. We find those items. We make sure that they're priced accordingly. And then maybe there are some that's worth $2 or $3. And that's okay because there's going to be a lot of that. But we typically pay for our services just by finding those top pieces. And so that's where, you know, you want to make sure that whomever you are working with, you know, knows what they're doing as far as pricing, and they know what they're doing as far as marketing your items, and knows where an outlet is for your items.
So what happens with the items that don't sell? You have finished the sale and there are things left over. What happens?
So our job at that point is to get donation involved, and that is as much as we would love to think that everybody thinks the sale's over and it's done, that's really when probably the hardest part of our job starts, is because we don't want to see things just go to the trash. You know, the things that are in homes, maybe it's your loved ones, maybe it's yours, maybe there's a reason that you love those things. Maybe your kids don't want them, and that's okay too, that's fine. But that doesn't mean that that they just need to be disposed of. So we work really hard to get it into the right hands of donation. Just like that was discussed earlier, donation is not just all, when they come in and you've got everything boxed up and then they come in and say, we're gonna take this, 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 and this, and you're like, you're not taking all of it? And they're like, oh, no, we're not taking all that. We can't do that. Or we don't want this because of this, 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 and this. That's where a company like these guys are so crucial, because I promise you, you're gonna be let down with donation coming to your house if they show up.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of them won't come inside.
No, they won't. I mean, we work with those donation places. You know, we work with the places that you guys call as well. But we know where things fit most typically. We do a lot of work with rehabs, with pregnancy centers, I think last year we set up over 37 apartments for people that were just kind of getting started. And when I say that, I'm not just saying just our company. That's working with others. That's working with people that could identify the needs. But we also work with the homeless as far as clothes. We don't want to see anything go to waste if we can keep from that. But at the end of the sale, everything goes to donation. Some of it does go to disposal. That happens. And our job is to make sure that the house is wrapped up, ready for the realtor, so that the realtor can get their photographer in there and then get the house sold fast. Because we all know, yes, personal belongings are great, and sometimes there are some great assets there. But most typically, the true asset is laying in your home in the real estate.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about rules about things with estate sales. Family members forgetting that something is there. Maybe they see it for sale, and they said, what does that look like?
So I always tell my clients that I don't care what we sell or what we don't sell. I really don't. Because that's not the way we work. Now, we do work off commission. I will say, yes, we work off a commission. But if you walk in and see a egg plate that maybe mom has used for 30 years and you forgot to grab it, it's yours. I'm not going to look at you and go, I'm sorry, it's already consigned for the sale. That's not what we do. Because if somebody looked at me and said, I can't have my egg plate, that's not going to go very well.
Well, but I will say, what if I think the problem that people run into is that the estate sale company has come in and made a bid and said, yes, this is a good sale for us. And then things start disappearing. And I think that's the point that I feel like needs to be driven home.
Absolutely. And let me discuss that, because that's happened to us. It has.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
We've had multiple times, and we do have that in our contract that, things are not to leave the house after this date. Now, the communication that we have with you we hope at that point we've built a rapport with you guys and that we know well enough that you're not going to let Cousin Eddie and his 17 kids come in and strip the house, But we've had that happen.
I love that cousin Eddie.
Oh, well, Eddie, you and your 17 cousins cannot strip the house, okay? That cannot happen. No, but seriously, we've done a home that was absolutely, an absolute hoarder situation. It took us weeks. And for me to admit weeks is hard because I like to go fast. But so the family had asked, that if they could let some people come in and look. Absolutely. I actually had a employee there, our transition specialist there, and they literally came in and stripped the house. Now that cannot happen, and that is not that. It literally is just it's not good business. And so I will say, our contract writes in there that if that happens, there's a set amount that's owed. It has to happen. And just know that when those contracts are written and our attorneys look at those and all those things, we're not targeting that contract towards you. We're targeting that contract towards somebody. You've always heard that one bad apple can run it for the whole bunch. So there's always some securities there that we have to have. But once you've made that, when you're working with a company, you need to make sure that you've kind of determined what you want to keep and what you don't. And there needs to be a defined way of the company, the agent, knowing exactly what you're wanting to keep and the expectations with that. Now, after that, if you decide you want a few things, that communication needs to be open. You need to say, hey, I want that armoire. I want that dresser. And whatever their policy is needs to be in place because you have committed to those dates.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So, big picture, and this is, I kind of want to go down the road. This is so important. Like your industries as a whole, what are questions? So when someone calls a clean out company, or when someone calls a consignment company, when somebody calls an estate sale company, what questions must be asked? What is the question that needs to be asked?
For us, we mostly work on volume. So again, that's where the pictures come in hands, the on-site bidding, because that is how we price things, is the volume that you have.
Okay, so where might someone go wrong with that?
Well, as long as you're upfront about, as long as you don't have, 50 hidden tires that you didn't disclose to us, just like, the rapport you have with each other. If you don't feel comfortable meeting us, you don't have to even be there. You can have everything just ready for us. But most of the time we do meet with you and we do like the on-site bidding. That way we can kind of put our eyes on everything. But yeah.
Are y'all insured?
We are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you would want to ask someone
Yes.
if they are insured?
Yes, you want someone to be insured.
Okay, perfect. Noel, what are some consignment questions and conversations that need to be had up front that we want to make sure people don't forget?
Maybe how long have they been in business? How long have they been doing it? Also, and as far as on the pricing, when we were talking about that, do you have a say-so in what we price it at? Yes, of course you do. So, that would be a question. I know you say it's half of retail. I know you're going to base it off that, but if I wanted to, maybe ask a little bit more, would you? And we do, because that's what we send you the email for, saying what we priced it at. We get calls all the time. Can you bump that? If it's within reason, yes, of course. And then also, too, like you said, if it's been there, if it's within the 90 days and you decided you can use it in your new home, can you have it back? Yes, we will allow that to happen.
Do they need to then pay the transport fee?
They would if it was something that they couldn't pick up themselves, or if we were going to deliver it back to them. But yes, we're not like huge sticklers like, no, you can't have that, or no, your grandson now can't have that. After he came to town and decided that it was gone. We work with you like that. So someone that's compassionate about, bending rules that are in place to, most importantly, accommodate you and your items. We're there just to help you sell your items, but, we also want to be fair and also know that, things happen.
And the main expense with consignment is the split. Is that true?
It is, but you also, then people say, you get half? And I'm like, yes, but we pay for the rent, we pay for the insurance, we pay for the trucks, we pay for the guys, we pay for the gas, we pay for the marketing, social media. You know, so yes, that we only take half.
Okay, all right.
Yes, there's a lot involved in the expense.
Perfect. Tia, what are some questions that when someone is interviewing estate sale companies, what are some questions that need to be asked?
I think, again, the expectations of, number one is the timeline. Is, maybe you're talking with a company and everybody says, yes, I need to do an online estate sale, and you say, okay, when can you be here? And they say, well, here it is, July, and I can't get there till November. Where does that fit into your timeline? Now, if that fits in your timeline, that's great, and that's the company you want to use, then that's perfect, and you've got that planned out, that's absolutely great. But if you are supposed to have your house listed within a month and you're wanting to sell before the summer season's over, then obviously that's not going to work for you. So you need to look at the timelines. Again, expectations on pricing. Like he said, that yes, you can have some input on pricing. We do. I mean, if somebody were to walk in and say, not in an in-person estate, if somebody walked in and said, we don't like that price, we might can talk about that. But on an online, there's really, can you put a reserve on it? You can, and there's companies that do that. And there are some items that do need to be reserved. But, just know that whomever you have contracted with, they are the professionals. They do this every day, and that they want to see your stuff do just as good as you do. I promise that. Because, again, the bottom line is when you're making money, we're making money. It's a win-win, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think some of the, just some of the questions are you insured? And for us, when we go into a home, liability all goes to us. Now, if if someone comes for a pickup and they fall, that's on me. But if a tornado comes the night before and blows everything away, that's on you. So there's some, just make sure that you know for sure, who you're working with, are they insured, what are their employees like, what are the policy if something's found in a dresser, what are the policies if there's a stash of cash found. I can't even tell you the times that we've found cash, jewelry, all kinds of things. So.
Now, one thing that I have seen, and this is something I meant to ask you earlier, like guns, alcohol, things like that. What happens with that?
Well, we do have we take care of it. We have a special market for that. We have a retailer for firearms that helps us with the licensing and all of that. So you're probably not going to see that gun laying out at an estate sale or maybe on a online. Sometimes we do them online, but a lot of times we're getting top dollar for those, but putting them through a dealer. Alcohol depends. If it's just a couple of bottles of Crown, we're going to throw that out, and we're going to make sure that it's not just thrown in the dumpster so Mr. Wino doesn't get it down the street. But if there's a collection, say it's a wine collection or there's a bourbon collection, we've had a bourbon collection, then we can get a temporary license that we can sell that online. In fact, we've got one that's launching soon that's a wine collection that's, I don't know wine, I'm not a wine drinker, but I guess it's pretty fabulous. So, yes, we do have special things that we can do to get those things sold and marketed correctly.
Perfect. Okay. So my all-encompassing question, so thinking about what we want our attendees to walk away feeling empowered and not alone and things like that, and knowing that there are so many options out there, what did we not touch on that we needed to? I know.
Hard one to answer. I don't know. At a time you're ready for me. Hopefully you've had a chance to go through all the things that are of value, and we're kind of your last stop shop.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, the bed bug situation that we were talking about, that's a reality. That's not really somebody who waited till the last minute. That's an unfortunate situation. And I'm sorry, but the majority of people do not want to own something that's been in a bed bug infested house. And so that was a hard conversation to have. But if you're dealing with something like that, or you're not alone, we see things like that all the time. So, okay. Noel, what do our friends need to know?
I would say that, we pick up just one piece sometimes. Sometimes it's just a dining room table. So it doesn't have to be a truckload. It can be, you've gotten everything else estate sold or hauled off. If you still just have that lonely, lazy boy recliner, you can still call it. So it doesn't have to be a large amount. We can do one piece, and we do that often. So that, and that we also, you can think that if you needed a smaller sofa, we sell a lot of furniture. So you can have yours picked up and consigned, and at the same time have something new delivered. We also do upholstery, new furniture, new custom furniture. So we're not just a consignment store. We do window treatments, custom bedding, and pillows. So, we are a one-stop shop.
Okay. And Tia, what do you have?
I think the biggest thing to take away from today is that you're not alone. You're not, this is a scary, scary transition. I always refer to when you graduate high school, that's such that's a mark that everybody's excited to do. And then the reality hits you during that summer that you're like, oh goodness, I'm leaving home and I'm going to be living in a dorm. And I'm going to be away from my mom and dad, or I'm going to be away from what I know. And I explain this experience a lot like that is, yes, this is exciting, all those feelings of I'm going to have a new place. Maybe I'm going to get to buy some new furniture. Maybe I have been out here in the country, or I've been out here and there's not very many neighbors around, and I'm going to maybe a community that there are activities, or maybe there's lots of things to look forward to. However, those nerves of being scared and fearful of the unknown are there. Find somebody that you can partner with. Find somebody that's not just about how much money can I make. Find somebody that says that it's not just about, well, if your sale's not going to bring $30,000, I won't do it. Find somebody that cares about what you're truly doing and what you're going through, and plan out each step. Make a timeline. Work backwards.
Yeah.
What are your goals? Do you want to be into your new home, before the winter hits? Then work with the realtor. Work with the buyout company. Work with the online estate salespeople. Figure out those steps and stick to that timeline.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. All right. So, is it okay if we open it up to Q&A?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, as a reminder, for the Q&A, we want to work on questions. If you have a comment, Amy and Corey are going to steal some mics. Perfect. So we're going to talk in terms of questions. If you have a comment, we absolutely want to hear that. Come talk to us afterwards, but this would be for questions. So who has our first question? Yep, we've got one over there.
I'm going to compete Noel and Tia. Okay, you've done all your due diligence. You have 5 or 6 big pieces left: a dining set, china cabinet, king size canopy bed. Which of your 2 situations would be better to approach? You get rid of those large items that you just can't.
You want to start, Noel?
I would say, or if you're wanting it out of your house like right away and you don't need the money right now, is that what you mean? Then a consignment would be probably your best bet. Is that kind of?
I agree. I totally agree with that. If there are some big pieces left, and I'll just tell you, now this isn't the all-time rule, but a lot of times on an online sale, bigger pieces don't do well. And I'll tell you why, is because if people are buying online, unless they're looking for something specific, maybe an Ethan Allen piece or a certain piece of Broyhill or whatever, they can hit a button, order it from Amazon, and it's delivered to their house, and they don't ever have to leave their chair. So just know that when they're buying a big canopy bed online, that it's going to take that special person that's actually looking for that. So I would say in that situation, Noel would be the definite call to say, hey, I've got these 6 pieces. Would you come and look at those, or let me send you some pictures?
Okay.
Who takes care of selling like toolboxes and tools?
Oh.
We love a good tool sale, and I'll tell you why. Y'all are gonna laugh, but if we have something, if we have an online sale or an in-person sale that has tools or something for the men, we're gonna get the ladies, because the ladies are gonna shop no matter what. They're gonna come and they're gonna shop no matter what, but if you can get their husbands there, that's always a great thing. So we love a good tool sale, we love a good shop clean out, and we always advertise that because there are a ton of men out there. I see a couple of guys out here that's been at my sales, but there are a ton of guys out there that love a good estate sale. So just know that those items are very valuable and very key, like when you're looking at a toolbox or something like that. Are they vintage items? What are their brands? Are they USA made? You know, there's lots of options, or there's lots of pieces that go into that to know what the value of those are. Okay?
Yes, I was wanting to know about the consignment. What kind of condition does the items have to be in? Do you have to have them clean before you take a sofa or a chair? Or just what?
They should be clean. You don't have to clean them. Our guys will, maybe if it's got a spotter stain or something on it, we can clean it some. But if it is dirty, if it's been pre-loved for, a while, then, it may not be a good fit for us. So we always say that it doesn't have to be in perfect condition, but it needs to be in good condition.
So if the dog ate part of the chair,
Yep.
And I would say probably smoking homes and pet homes might be a call to Laura as well. Yeah.
Rugs that have, your pets have loved on, yeah.
Amy?
What is the best way to get rid of sterling silver trays and vases and candlesticks, that type of stuff, those items, and also fine jewelry? What is the best way to get rid of all that?
Oh.
So we love a good specialized sale. And we focus a lot on specialized sales. So whomever you're looking to do business with, make sure that they're going to look at it as the fine pieces that they are. Do the research to know what they are. Make sure that they're clean the way they need to be cleaned. Fine jewelry, the same thing. And I'll tell you, I'm sure you watch the market. If you have fine jewelry and it's things that you know that you're not going to want to hand down, that they're maybe not a family heirloom or it's something that you know you're going to want to part with, now is the time. Right now is good. The market is really good right now. So we have a lot of people that just say, if you said, hey, I've got 30 or 40 pieces of jewelry, maybe some of that's costume, maybe some of it's gold, maybe some of it's platinum, silver, whatever, that will call us and say, I'm not ready to completely downsize. I'm not ready to get rid of everything, but I do have these pieces. I have this sterling silver that I'm not using anymore. Would you be interested in looking at it? Absolutely, we'll sell that for you.
We don't do jewelry, but some of the stainless steel we do. So that's why kind of.
Perfect. Corey?
Okay, how about China? Like I have a huge collection of desert rose.
That is not one of our specialties.
I think China is such a good conversation to quickly have. So Tia, why don't let's address China, and why don't you address them as maybe some like precious moments collections and things like that at the same time.
And this used to be the hardest conversation for me to have. I would sit down in homes and I would have somebody sit down and say, now I have my grandmother's china and they brought it back from Japan when Grandpa was over there, and I would be like, what are we going to do with this? And I want to be very, very honest with you, very honest. If you have a grandchild that possibly might be interested, you have anybody that might be interested, or you have a best friend that has the same set and they want to add to their set, you need to give it to them, okay? And I mean give it to them. Because I will tell you, China is just it's not something that people desire anymore. It's not. Even my age, and I'm 50, I don't have a set of china. I had one at one time, and it was boxed up in the attic, and I was tired of moving it. So But just know that, like, now I will say the Franciscan, you said the Desert Rose. Now there are some of those that are desired, and I'll tell you, the only way that you need to sell those is online because you're reaching that audience across the U.S. We have shipped Desert Rose all over. We have one lady specifically in Pennsylvania that loves Desert Rose, and I can tell you every time I have a piece of it that comes on, she's going to buy it. So there are some out there that still collect those pieces, but just know that your expectations have to be very, very, very low when you're talking about China and those kinds of things. Now, we're talking about precious moments and, armoires are a big piece. If you have an armoire,
You're stuck on the armoires, no.
so there's some of those things that, if there's anybody, China hutches. I mean, they're kind of coming back a little bit, but there was a time there that when I walked in and saw a China hutch, I know that that's going on my list, that it has to go to donation. Donation's probably not going to take it, so I know where it has to go. But things like precious moments and Fenton, I guarantee you, how many of you in here have a piece of Fenton? Bunch of you, right? Sterling silver. And sterling silverware or true silver. Now that needs to be sold online because of just the true value of silver. But precious moments, guys, they just don't hold a lot of value. If we get $2 or $3 per figurine, we're really doing something.
Yeah, you've got to remember that things like Beanie Babies and Precious Moments, they were mass produced, and anything that was mass produced in the 80s and 90s is there's lots of them out there still.
Y'all, if I had $1 for everybody that called me and said, I've got the Princess Diana Beanie Baby,
Oh, boy.
and it's going to make me $17 million, listen, I would be rich. Right? Because, and if I never have to look at another Beanie Baby in my life, I'll be real excited too. No, seriously. We would all like to think that those things are worth a ton of money. And sometimes, listen, sometimes there's a tag on a Beanie Baby that maybe is a misprint, and it is worth some money. I've sold a Beanie Baby I sold one for $1,700. I sold one for $1,756. When I saw that, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. It was because we pictured the tag correctly. I didn't even catch it that the tag was wrong. It's the lady caught it watching it online. But that's a fluke deal. Out of 200 houses, 300 houses in the last 2 years, that's a one-time thing.
Yeah.
That's a one-time thing.
Show of hands that
Yes.
Thomas Kincaid picture.
I want to know what you do when you see something online and you want to make an offer less than what the asking price is.
Well, I think that would have to do with who was doing it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you need to know the auction's specifics and the rules and regulations of the auction. That we don't address that because if I have a reserve on something, it's because the family member and the client and I have come to that conclusion together. And now, if you want to send an email to that company and say, hey, if this didn't sell, that might be the way to approach that, definitely. But know the rules and regulations of what the auction states.
Corey, you've got somebody?
What do you do when you're sitting on about over 100 years worth of family photographs?
That's a great question. I'm so glad you brought that up. Photos are a big, big thing for us. And again, that's another conversation that was real hard for me to have in the beginning because probably your kids don't want all those photos, right? Or your nieces and nephews, they don't want all those. So what I suggest is what we do as a company is we want you to go through those and decide what's really important for you to keep. After that, you leave what maybe is not desired and you let your company take care of those. Now, if those photos, if you think that maybe your kids are at a younger age or maybe they're just not hit the maturity level that maybe they will want to know those things, to have those digitized is a great option. It does take a lot of work. I mean, it takes a little bit of work on your end because you need to organize those how you want them digitized and how you want them labeled and things like that. We work with people like that. We have a couple companies that do that for our clients. And so that's a great option if you want to preserve those because, again, we find photos in attics all the time, and attics, I can't tell you that it's totally wrong because I have photos in my attic, but that's really hard on them. And the quality that you're going to be able to see when you get them out of the attic, or maybe when your kids get them down, is not going to be worth anything. So digitizing, working through to sort some of those. If you guys are like me and have bought school pictures, you probably have 12 of little Anna laying in a box. Well, as hard as that is, we probably don't need the same picture. We don't need 12 copies of the same picture.
Yep. Amy? Okay, so we're going to do 2 more questions. Amy has one, and then Corey has one, and then after this, they're going to hang around because there's lots of specific questions that I want to make sure that they answer. So y'all hang around for just a minute. Okay, perfect. Amy?
Okay. You talked about the end of the sale. Do you ever contract to where you walk away, take your tables and leave, and the owners or the owner's heirs want whatever's left?
Yes, that can be worked into the plan. We talk about a lot of the feel good, and that's not a feel good for me because my job is to reduce your stress. My job is to take the stress out of your transition, no matter what way we have to do that. So if I do a sale and we walk away, we pull our tables out, we pull our signs down, and we walk away, I feel like I've left you in a mess. Now, if that's something that you want, then absolutely, you're my client. I'm going to do what you ask. But I'm not going to leave you with a pile of trash behind the garage, and that's just not what we do because I'm doing that typically. Now, most typically, and again, we customize every plan, but most typically, I'm handing off to the realtor. I am letting the realtor know that by Tuesday or Wednesday after the sale, that house is going to be ready for pictures. They need to have the photographer lined up. So we don't typically want to do that because it just creates a time lapse there that's typically not good.
All right, Corey?
What's a convenient way to dispose of old books?
Oh, I saw so many people say, yes, it's a good question. Okay, great.
We actually take books, and unless it's like a truckload of books, but we get a lot of people that want to buy our books that are just for display only. So a consignment store that takes books. Not all do, but we do.
See, our point of books is everybody says, I've got tons of books. Well, the company that you contract with needs to be educated and to know what books you have. Maybe there's something there that's worth some value. And to seek those out, I would hate to say, let's donate all of those just immediately and there be something in there that's worth $200 or $300 because those $200 or $300 add up. So our process is, and I'm sure many of the same companies have the same process, is we go through every book. I have a lady that is a retired school teacher. She taught for 43 years, and her job is when we start a home, she's starting one right now in Tuttle, she's there with the project manager, and she'll go through the books for the day.
Well, and you have to get, how many times have you found money hidden in books too?
Absolutely. I'll tell you all a funny story really quick. We did this a preacher's home, and his wife hid everything that she didn't want him to know about in her books. And that might be receipts from the dress store. That might be maybe she was a little bit late on the electric payment. But I had a good chuckle, and I actually shared that with one of the daughters that I'd become close with and still very close with. And I just said, hey, I don't want to cause any doubt or anything, but I just want to see, I think this is kind of cute. And it was so cute to see, mostly the receipts of the things that she had bought. You could tell that she was tucking those away, so maybe they weren't found somewhere. But yeah, we find all kinds of things in books. Money is the number one thing. But you definitely don't want to just go through the bookshelf and dump those all in a box and take the donation. Consignment, online sales, we have specialty book sales.
Okay, how many sets of encyclopedias have you? Yeah. I know, that's hard. That's so hard. Guys, were they so good? Yeah, so good. Okay.